Hi everybody, and welcome back to Lost Genre Reddit Stories. This post is from the subreddit Relationships, and it's by user Throwaway313464. I, 24 female, think I just found my father, something male, and I'm kind of in shock. I apologize if this is something scattered. This is a lot to take in, and I don't have many people I can talk to about it. I'll start with some backstory. My mom was a pretty terrible person, typical r/raised by narcissists material. She was also a compulsive liar. She always skirted around telling me about my father, and eventually, when I was like 10, she confessed to me that he was a sperm donor. She also came out to me as gay, but I'd been told she tried to not be gay by occasionally having relationships with men. She ended her life 5 years ago. The only other family member I was close with was my great-grandma. The rest of my family is almost as terrible as my mother, and when I lost my grandma last year, I moved to another state, changed my phone number, and preemptively blocked whoever I could find on Facebook so that they'd be out of my life for good. But anyway, what it comes down to is that I never really knew anything about my heritage and didn't have anyone left to ask. I saw a comment here several months ago about a genetic test from a website called 23andMe, so I bought one out of curiosity. I woke up tonight to an email telling me that my results were finally in. I'm not even close to anything my mother ever told me, but liars lie, right? Here's where it gets weird. I logged back on earlier tonight to see if there was a referral code I could give to a friend, and a section titled DNA Relatives caught my eye, where it says, view 23andMe members who share DNA with you. It says like 627 distant cousins, 212 second and third cousins, and one close family. So I clicked on that section. His name, male, 50% shared DNA, father. I sat there in stunned silence for a few minutes, just staring. I switched tabs back to the homepage and noticed a notification at the top that read, "We've found a genetic relative. Add your father and his name." Obviously, I looked up his Facebook. He is the only person with his name. A wife, but no kids. His location adds to the possibility of it all being real. We have the same weird hair. Growing up, I was constantly asked if it bothered me that I didn't know my dad. Once in a while, I'd see a girl with her dad and feel a little sad that I didn't have that, but it was never something I pined for. I can honestly say that I really never gave a crap that my dad wasn't in my life. But now, I don't know. Something changed. I have no family anymore, and I spent my entire life thinking that I was half Irish and half Italian, and tonight I found out that I'm not. It was never something I felt attached to, but it's a strange feeling to find out that you're not what you thought you were. I really want to message him, but I have no effing clue what to say to him. I can be very wordy, as evidenced by this post, I'm sure. And I want to avoid freaking him out. I'm completely independent, live on my own, etc. But I'm worried he'll think I want money, something he likely has, based on his career. It would be pretty cool if he wanted to get to know me, but I understand what a huge shock it would be to know I exist. And I would understand if he didn't want anything to do with me. However, I've spent my life with a serious undiagnosed medical issue, a story for another day, so I would be extremely grateful if I could get some medical information from him at the very least. Something that makes this more complicated is that while my mom told me that my dad was a sperm donor, it's entirely possible that he's not. I did see the sperm donor application someone filled out, but it's possible that she never actually got the sperm. She was a reckless drug addict as well and partied a ton, so it's also entirely possible that my dad was a random hookup or something. So basically, I can't just ask him if he donated sperm back in the 90s because it's possible that he didn't. This post ended up much longer than I meant for it to be, but what I'm looking for is some advice on what the hell to say to this guy. I don't want to risk effing it up. Well, OP, the first thing is, I'm sorry that you had to go through all of what your mother put you through. She sounds like a very troubled individual. So on that, I think it's a good thing that you cut out her whole family once your grandmother, the one person that apparently did take a liking to you, passed away. Now, regarding your biological father, I think you should be able to contact him without a problem. I mean, from what I understand, I've never done the 23andMe thing, but from what I understand, you are supposed to check, like, if you want somebody who's related to you to contact contact you, or else you just get your DNA results to see your heritage and that's it. So your dad or your bio dad, apparently he clicked and said, if somebody has my DNA, I would want them to contact me or to get in touch with me or something because, well, that's the connection, right? And regarding what to say, I would keep it short, saying that you found out that, he's your father or your bio dad through the match made in 23andMe. Then ask him if he's willing to talk to you or contact you, that you open to that as well, and that you're also very interested in the medical background of his family, considering you have a personal issue. But then again, I've never been in your situation, so I might just be talking out of my butt. What do you guys think OP should do, or how should she write the message? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's move on to the community comments to see what they said. You Are a Toy says, this post was an emotional roller coaster. I think you're definitely not overstepping anything by reaching out. I would think that if you got a notification saying there was a relative match, then he'll be able to see it too and know you're not lying. The way you worded your ask in the fourth and third to last paragraphs sounds pretty genuine, and I'd recommend using the same language. Something like you're not sure how he knew your mother, but as evidenced by this DNA test, you might be related and you have some medical questions. Then let him know the ball is in his court to reply and you'd understand either way. And OP responds, thank you so much. Sadly, it seems that there is no notification about having a relative match because I really only discovered it by accident. I guess it's possible that I wouldn't be notified though since he was there first? I'm not sure. Either way, he could log in and see that I'm not lying. Then again, I used my first name on 23andMe, but I've started going by my middle name since moving, another attempt at keeping people on my mom's side away. So my Facebook is under my middle name. I did add my first name as an alternative name a couple of hours ago so that it's there once I message him. Plus, my profile picture on both sides makes it pretty obvious that I'm the same person. I'm so nervous. This isn't something I ever thought would even be a possibility. Jillyfish says, I think it makes sense to reach out to him. I wouldn't ask if he donated sperm, just assume that's what happened because that's what you were told. If he has donated sperm and he didn't want to be contacted by his possible biological children, I doubt he would sign up for something like 23andMe. There was a docuseries on MTV called Generation Cryo about a girl who wanted to reach out to her biological father. You might be interested in it, and it might help you figure out how you would feel about the different responses he might have. I'm hoping for a happy ending for you. And Dopey responds, thank you. I actually watched a bit of Generation Cryo when it was first on. I'll check it out and watch the rest, because I only saw the first couple episodes. And I agree, if he just wanted some kind of genetic history from 23andMe, he would have completely opted out of the DNA relatives thing. Cats and Shine On says, I joined that site hoping to find my dad, but it didn't quite work out for me. Best of luck to you, and you should talk to him and ask about medical history because I may have found my dad, but he died from complications of diabetes. Now I have gestational diabetes, and I'm not sure if it's linked, but no one else in my family has had it. So please, as a peace of mind, reach out to him and just get some information. Maybe he doesn't know you exist. Either way, I hope it works out for you. Heart. And Opie responds, thank you, and I'm sorry to hear about your experience, sad face. I have a feeling that based on my mom, he likely doesn't know I exist. My medical issues are something I've struggled with for a long time, and I was never able to give doctors any kind of medical information about my family, so getting information from him would really help. Additional information from OP's comments. It's really awkward to tell medical professionals that I don't know much about my mom's side of the family because she ended her life, and I know nothing about my dad's side of the family because he was a sperm donor. They'd all give me this weird look, a mixture of pity and shock. My mom also insisted my dad's side was fine because the sperm donor papers say his family is healthy. I guess part of me is operating based on what a compulsive liar my mom was. I always had this nagging feeling that the sperm donor thing was a lie, especially because my great-grandma, who my mom lived with after she got pregnant with me up until I was 13-ish, would never talk to me about it. I spent a couple of hours googling him. He has a YouTube channel where he uploaded an episode of a game show he was on. A lot of his Facebook is public as well. He seems like a really nice guy, so hopefully he'll be willing to talk to me. My friend actually mentioned something about my potential dad being on 23andMe. Like, if you know about your family and stuff, does a person really have any reason to spend money on a test like that? Generally, people on there are searching for something, right? I definitely don't expect some magic father-daughter relationship, but I would be happy if he was interested in getting to know me. However, I'd be lying if I hadn't wondered if maybe he knows I exist and wanted to find me. It's weird because I never really cared, but now that I've lost my great-grandma, I feel pretty lonely. It would be nice to connect with someone and be able to call them family, you know? I know it's a long shot and maybe he won't be interested, and that's okay too. I've made it 24 years without him in my life, and I'm not going to fall apart if things don't change. I actually sent the message a couple of hours ago. I reread through all of the advice I'd gotten here, and I considered editing my post to include a draft of what I had written. But after rereading it 100 times, I decided to go with my gut and send it before chickening out. No response yet, but he also hasn't read it yet. I guess there are a ton of possible reasons why he wouldn't see the message right away. I'll just have to be patient. Smiley face. Okay, well I guess the community advice helped OP out because she acted on it, sent a message, and is now waiting for a response. So let's move on to the update to see how that response came out and how the story ends. First of all, I'd really like to thank everyone who took the time to share their stories with me and give me advice, especially those of you who found yourself in a similar situation. This was totally not a situation I ever expected to find myself in, and I'm so grateful for all of the advice everyone gave me. Anyway, on to the update. So after my thread died down, I reread all of the advice I was given and started writing a draft of what I wanted to say to him. I had considered editing my thread to get opinions on what I eventually typed out, but after nervously rereading it 100 times, I finally decided that I needed to go with my gut and just send it before I chickened out. I didn't even run it by my two closest friends because I didn't want to feel unsure about what I was going to say. Basically, I told them who I was and explained how I came to find them and what the 23andMe results said. I went on to tell him my mother's name and, following the suggestions I received in my original post, mentioned that she had died a few years ago before giving me an accurate story about who my father was. I also said that I'd be interested in talking and getting to know him, but that this must be a big shock to him and I would understand if a relationship with me was not something he wanted, and went on to request that he at least share his family's medical history with me. I sent it late on Friday night and anxiously checked my phone all day on Saturday. It's a weird feeling having spent the entire 24 years of my life literally giving no F's at all about who my father was and then suddenly caring. It's like before all of this, he was just this nameless, faceless person that, for all intents and purposes, didn't exist. Then suddenly he had a face and a name, and I could see where I got so many of my features. Features that don't look like anything on my mom's side and always made me feel like I didn't fit in. I suddenly found myself caring if this 50% of me wanted to know me or not. It was actually kind of scary. I woke up this morning to several notifications on my phone. He answered. I also had a friend request from him and an email from 23andMe letting me know that he wanted to share information with me. He started off by telling me a bit about himself and his life, and then went on to say that he isn't surprised or shocked to hear from me. It turns out he actually was a sperm donor. However, he went on to tell me that I'm half Jewish. My 23andMe results came back saying I'm half Ashkenazi, and the way he described it made it pretty clear that his side of the family is very in touch with their heritage. The thing is, the sperm donor paperwork that I have is from a guy who claimed to be Italian and was in medical school when he donated, and my father already started his career in something completely different. I've basically come to the conclusion that my mom somehow had the wrong paperwork, which is weird because she insisted my entire life that I was half Italian. Also, I have a half-brother and half-sister. He got in touch with them several years ago through the donor sibling registry, which adds more mystery to the sperm donor situation because the registry seemed unable to find my records when I signed up several years ago. My half-sister is a kindergarten teacher and my half-brother plays in a rock band. He told me their names so that I could add them on Facebook as well, and he mentioned that they've all become very close. I apparently also have another half-sister who my father mentioned called the cryobank trying to get in touch with them, but she got cold feet and backed out. My father went on to say that he realizes how scary it must be to reach out to a biological parent that you've never met because of the fear of rejection, and then said that I wouldn't get that from him and that he's delighted to hear from me. He also told me that his 89-year-old mother would be thrilled to know I exist and that she's become close with my 2 half-siblings as well. That part made me particularly happy because I really miss my great-grandma. I haven't answered him yet because I'm still taking it all in. I thought maybe typing out this update would help me do that. I was seriously bracing myself for this guy to not want anything to do with me. I sort of had this hard-ass only child, orphan, I don't need a family attitude, especially after losing my great-grandma because she was the only family I was ever close to. And it turns out that I have all these people I'm related to that are so excited to get to know me. I'm so excited to get to know my father, grandmother, and half-siblings. It's really a pretty amazing feeling that I still can't believe it because I felt so alone for a long time and that all changed in less than 48 hours. I'm not really looking for any advice this time, I hope that's okay, and I won't post any more updates, but I had a lot of people who really wanted me to update, and I know that I always feel warm and fuzzy when I read someone else's happy update, so I wanted to share this with everyone who gave me advice. It's weird because I never realized how much I wanted this until it actually happened. Thanks again, everyone. Smiley face. Well, OP, I'm happy for you. It's a good thing that you sent that message. You got a really positive response and a whole world opened up to you. So all the best in the future in meeting your family, your siblings, your grandma, and your bio dad. And take care, OP. Thank you for sharing. Now, let's move on to the next post. This post is from the subreddit Malicious Compliance, and it's by user Cinnamon Gin, Natural Occurring Colors. In the early 2000s, I worked at a Canadian casino. The place had so many ridiculous rules, including some very particular rules about makeup. The makeup rules were as follows: no fake eyelashes, no fake fingernails or fingernail extensions, and no makeup that is not a natural color. The natural color one confused me. What is deemed natural? Who decides what is and isn't natural? I asked my manager for clarification, but she couldn't give me any. Just keep it natural. Use natural occurring colors and you'll be fine. This did not sit well with me. Cue malicious compliance. My aunt has her master's in environmental science. I went to her house one evening and picked her brain about natural occurring colors. She informed me that scientifically, naturally occurring colors are colors that can be found directly in nature. She even showed me a textbook that directly spoke about natural occurring colors. I borrowed the textbook and highlighted the paragraphs that specified this. Keep in mind that this was well before you could just Google something. The only way to back up the claim was to carry that 750-page textbook to work with me. My next shift, I went all out. Green eyeliner, eggplant-colored eyeshadow, yellow nail polish on one hand and mango-colored on the other hand. I hit the floor to work and within the first few minutes, I get hauled into my manager's office. OP, what do you think you're doing? You cannot wear those colors. You know our policy states natural occurring colors only when it comes to makeup. Head to the staff bathroom immediately and remove it. Wordlessly, I headed to the staff bathroom, but instead of taking the makeup off, I went to my locker, grabbed the textbook, and marched back to my manager's office. Excuse me, manager, I am wearing natural occurring colors. Here, look at this textbook that specifically states what natural occurring colors are, by definition. I watched her face change as she read the book. First, she looked pissed, then worried, and then finally resigned herself to what was happening. OP, do you really need to be that type of person? I respond, the type of person that follows the rules? I thought that was what you wanted me to do. She asked me to head back to the floor. For the remaining time I was employed there, I wore whatever color of makeup I wanted, and so did almost all of my coworkers. They tried coming out with new rules, but could never get the wording right. Effing stupid rules. Malicious compliance for the win. Well, OP, like you say, malicious compliance for the win. Maybe they should have come up with some sort of visual aid to help people understand which colors they wanted on the floor and which they didn't. But whatever. Thank you for sharing, OP. And it's that time that we've reached the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed today's stories. I really did enjoy reading them to you. So if you did, then don't be shy and go ahead and give the video a like. And don't forget to subscribe or even share this video with people that you might think will enjoy my storytelling. Also, if you have the time, go down to the video description and check out all the links I have for you, from our Discord community to my channel merch. And finally, I'd like to say thank you for watching. It really means a lot to me that you enjoy my videos. And having said all that, I'll see you guys in the next video.